Perfect example. Guy's 150 yards off the road on private property. He has no permission to be there. I have permission to be here. Just a perfect example of it. I come around that corner and he decided it was time to leave. He did wave at me, but he decided it was time to go. Wonder why. So I'm down here on this creek bottom today, hot summer day, late summer, and thinking about, I keep talking in my videos about how I see where folks are coming in from other places and setting up camp, and I call them trespassers. And I've had some people make a few comments, especially Missouri people, about how they're not trespassing because these creeks have public access and things like that. And I think it's something I want to talk about. Do some preaching and probably get in some trouble. The actual creek right now from here is 45 yards that way. So I'm not even in the creek. I'm in the creek bottom. 10 years ago, this wasn't even here. This was all fields. So am I trespassing? Yes, I am. I am a trespasser right now. I'll explain that in just a minute. D.W. Verts, Hickbilly Outdoors, trespassing on the creek looking for arrowheads. Trespassing, that's what I'm doing. Right this minute, I am trespassing because I do not own this land. I am trespassing with permission. My truck's parked where the landowner can see it. That's what trespass means, getting on someone else's property. It doesn't mean I'm breaking the law. You know that? But a lot of people do. I want to talk a little bit about that. Like I said, I know I'm going to stir some folks up, ruffle a few feathers, but I'm going to tell you the way I see it and the way it's pretty much been explained to me in many different ways lately, but some things have changed here in central Missouri, and I am trespassing, but I'm doing it with permission, and that's where the difference lies. So while I'm stumbling around here looking for stuff, I'm going to talk about this trespass thing and where can you hunt for points legally and where the gray areas are, at least. Now, this is central Missouri. I'm talking about here, but a lot of the stuff I'm talking about I know applies to other places in the country. I have permission to be where I'm at. I know the landowners, know their names, know their faces. Even consider some of my landowners to be friends, which is great. But I'm on a creek, central Missouri. A lot of people look this stuff up, know kind of places I'm hunting. It's kind of hard to keep it all secret. Well, that looks good, ain't it? Look at that. For years, these creeks, the word has been navigable streams you could trespass on. Navigable streams. So we'll define that. That's been the problem. Define navigable. When I was a kid, and up just a few years ago, navigable was considered. And get this, for interpretation. If you could float a 12-inch log down the stream at normal levels, it was navigable. That would mean 8 inches deep, right? Something like that. You sure can't do that in this creek. I've went 75 yards. There's 3 places you can't do that in this creek. Navigable. So, what we'd always been told by our conservation department, and our agents here are like my liaison to a lot of things, because they do a lot of the phone calls for trespassing, for issues and drugs and all the crap that goes on in some of these creeks. And by the way, you drug guys, I'm watching you. I know who you are, yeah. We were told, and this is like from a trapping standpoint, if it's a low water slab, not a highway bridge, but a low water crossing at a creek, you could step off into that creek there and be safe from prosecution. The problem is, and staying in the water, in the actual confines of the creek, the problem is, everybody does that, gets up on the banks and trespass. Everybody pushes it. If you guys are pushing it, that's on you. Don't get mad at me. I'm telling you the way it is in this county, Morgan County, Missouri. However, that all changed with our new sheriff, who luckily is a friend of mine. I like getting along with law enforcement. I've known my sheriff for a long time, as I did the two before him. I like to get along with him. He passed a mandate down a few years ago, and I'd heard about this thing, and a while back somehow it come up to me on Facebook, and I read it for the first time, and I didn't realize how to the point it was. Here's the deal with water, with streams and creeks. The water may not belong to the landowner. Kind of hard for water to belong to somebody like that, but the land under it does. Land under that creek or that stream belongs to one or two people. Sometimes creeks are a dividing line, although they're not a very straight dividing line. So I don't care what you're doing. When you're in a creek, you're on somebody else's property. If you don't have permission, you're trespassing without permission. That's just a fact, y'all. What our sheriff decreed is there are no navigable streams in Morgan County to speak of. If you are not, or without permission, you are trespassing. Without permission, you don't have permission because there's no such thing as navigable streams. I think that's hugely fair because I'm all about the sanctity of my landowners. It's their stuff. I respect that, and I've took a lot of years getting permission to be places like this right here. Ouch, I can hear, boy, I've got people getting mad at me. Don't get mad at me. I'm telling you the way it's said by my landowner, by the way it's said to me by my sheriff. What's your sheriff say? Okay, let me skinny this down really quick. The biggest issues with trespassing without permission is not what the sheriff says. It's not what the landowner says. It should be, but it's not. Our conservation department, our wildlife agents, not up to them. It's up to your prosecuting attorney in your county or parish where you're at. Bottom line, what will he prosecute? That's the guy you need to be talking to. Now, personally, I'm going to talk to the landowner first and get it out of the way. In Missouri, the way I understand it, we have 3 forms of trespass, 3 misdemeanors, 1, 2, and 3. And one of the more BS things you have to do to get a good prosecution is you have to have your land posted. I've always thought posting stuff was stupid. You shouldn't have to post your land, it's your land. People know they're not on their property, they're not where they belong. And it's more prosecutable in Missouri if you have your land posted or posted with purple paint, which is a whole nother thing. It's just ridiculous you should have to do that. That was ridiculous, me wading through this frickin' jungle looking for points. But that's the way it is. You need to find out, if you think you have the right, some inalienable manifestations you can get on people's property, great. You need to find out what your prosecuting attorney is willing to do to defend that landowner's rights. Back to my normal BS of when I can't find anything, just showing everything I find. Very nice flake right there. Not fancy, but something. A lot of them aren't going to pursue it. They're going to tell you quit, stop, slap you on the wrist, whatever, because it takes up court time and things, you know, it's not going to be important to them. But you need to know. And you just need to get permission. Now, one place that changes, and we have one here in Morgan County, but it doesn't really change much because if a waterway is designated as a rivers are generally, at least here in Missouri, public property, public domain. So if you're within the boundaries of the river, fences, whatever, you know, if you're 100 yards off the river, you're on somebody else's property. But if you're on a river, you're legal in Missouri most places to hunt artifacts. Except the river is here in Morgan County, and you see me hunt it north into Cooper County. Starts on conservation property. It starts on wildlife management property, therefore making it illegal to pick up artifacts. Now how's that for a bunch of hooey? Okay, now I'm going to have people say, oh Dale, those laws are there for a reason. We need to protect the landowners, we need to protect people, but a lot of folks are into this because they think that those artifacts still belong to the Native Americans, which is not what we're hunting. We're hunting paleo, whatever. Too much detail there. The fact is, picking an artifact up off a piece of ground that's public like that shouldn't be against the law, but I don't put myself in that position. Other places, public national parks, things like that, I understand you can't pick up artifacts. I'm not sure about our Mark Twain National Forest. I'll bet you it's the same way. That means thousands and thousands and thousands of public land acres that you cannot pick up artifacts legally. Of course, everybody does. I just steer clear of it. Am I making sense? The bottom line is just get permission to hunt places. It can be done. I did a video last fall, last winter, or maybe early this, I guess actually it was this spring, never mind, look it up. How to get permission to trespass. If I could figure out how to put links on, I would. I'm not smart enough. You need to get permission to be where you're at. It's so much easier. I'm right here in 500 acres of land with this creek running through it and lots of gravel to look at. And sometimes it's got good stuff in it. I've got permission. La-di-da, I guess. A lot of people are not going to like this. I don't care. I'm telling you the way it is. So people that drive off in these creek bottoms and get up here and get stuck in their trucks because they're trespassing, I don't help them anymore. Matter of fact, driving into creeks almost anywhere in the country is against the law. Taking a four-wheeler, side-by-sides, and four-wheel drive trucks into this water is illegal. And I am dead set. That's wrong. Plowing up through the creek, racing each other, making a mess, disturbing the habitat that's already been disturbed enough by man, whatever. That's also illegal. I can show you on this creek downstream here a little ways where people drive almost a half mile on the creek bank on the gravel bars to party and park and hunt arrowheads. And there are 2 properties past the bridge when they do that. 2 properties. My buddy Mike brought this up to me a few weeks ago because I talked about hunting on right-of-ways of roads. I have checked on that. Nobody can tell me that's against the law. I believe that the right-of-ways are legal and nobody has been able to give me any. I was the first one, I guess, to ever ask. Thanks, Mike, for jogging that, but as far as I know, I'm good on that. But there are places it is illegal. If you like to break laws or you don't care, good for you. I'm just telling you the way it is here, so I'm done. See y'all later. Don't trespass without permission. If you do, I hope you don't get caught. God bless. Bye, y'all.